So this category is what keeps us alive, interesting, and interested. I say this because you were someone before you had kids, met your partner, or before you even had this job. And when we keep learning, developing ourselves, and doing things that light us up, people feel that, and it makes an impact on them more than we even realize or expect.
Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙠𝙤𝙢𝙠𝙤, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Well, hey there, welcome back. You're listening to another episode of the Parenting Guide, Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast. I'm so happy you're here with me again. Thank you for squeezing me into your very busy schedule. Just in case you're wondering and you hear strange noises in the background, I'm actually recording from my car because I'm here waiting for my son during his dance class. And this is the only time I had this week to record. I know, it's crazy. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Entrepreneur life isn't as glamorous as they make it sound or look like on social media, right? Now, speaking of making time for things that are important to us, I've got a great episode for you today. It's all about making time for the things and the people that are important to us. Stuff we have no other choice but to make time for. And then there's the stuff we really want to make time for, but just don't know where or how to even plug it in. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. You work with what you have. So today's episode, I'm talking to you about work-life balance for moms. And in this episode, you'll learn the reasons why it's so tough to balance out all the things related to motherhood, work, home life, and our own personal goals. I'll give you a glimpse of how to balance things out using the insight from an article I recently published. Then I'll also talk about my secret strategy when trying to prioritize that ever-growing to-do list and gain some perspective on what's eating most of your time. And finally, you'll get access to a free resource I created to help you get super clear on what to do next. I guess it's fair to say this episode's going to be like a free mini training for how to deal with the very challenging work-life balance. So you'll want to grab a pen and paper, my friend, and take notes. Or save the episode so you can listen to the replay and get to work. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hey, before we start, have you grabbed my cheat sheet yet on how to decrease laundry overwhelm? Find out the strategies that other people are using, families with 3 or more kids. So head to 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙢.com/laundry overwhelm, all one word, and find out which strategy works best for you and your family to help decrease laundry overwhelm.
We all know as moms, we play many roles: chef, driver, counselor, referee, judge and jury, therapist, friend, builder and finder of toys, an artist, and so much more. It's constantly changing from one moment to the next and often without notice. Ironically, though, we have all the answers to problems, struggles, and challenges, but at the same time, we have no clue what to do next or what we're even doing for that matter. Motherhood is a constant push-pull on our emotions, energy, patience, and it's all so worth it because this whole adventure is for the most beautiful and wonderful creatures on earth. Can you guess? That's right, our children. For these reasons alone, there's no doubt the toll on our mental load is quite heavy. Oftentimes, we get the short end of the stick, don't we? But we keep going and push through it all. In essence, it all comes from love. Now, if you ask any mom out there, anything short of 100% effort on our part results in guilt and maybe even worry. This vicious cycle of selflessness, joy, love, guilt, and worry is far from healthy, and putting it out there like that right now, it just raises the question, why? Undeniably, mothers would walk to the ends of the earth for those we love most, wouldn't we? With the joys of motherhood come the challenges of having to balance everything out, all the things involving the kids, the house, our relationships with others, our passions and our projects, and trying to fit in our own personal needs. And then there's work. Remember that? In case you're thinking, where am I going with all of this? Well, it's actually the premise of an article I wrote for a local paper here in Montreal, and it's called The Suburban. I talk about strategies to balance out the whole work-life balance dilemma, as well as provide you with my take on why it's all so imbalanced. I'll give you a little excerpt of my article that talks about just that. Here it is. What makes it imbalanced? When looking at the amount of where our wakeful time is spent, we can split this into 4 categories: work, home, family, and personal time. Aside from the work category, the other 3 can be considered as irregular and inconsistent when time's spent in those categories. To clarify, the time we spend with our family is not always the same in magnitude or length of time. As moms know, our family's demands can come screeching in from anywhere at any time. Although it's a stable structure in of itself, maintaining it requires consistency, but it's not always possible, especially when you've got kids. For instance, our home can go from messy to clean-ish to things needing repair or replaced, from patching up walls to sewing holes, and everything else in between. The demands are endless and sporadic. In addition, anything can happen at any given time when it comes to our home. Hence, the time we spend for this category is inconsistent and irregular. Finally, when it comes to the time spent for our own needs and wants, this too fluctuates. Albeit some of us do retain and live by a structured self-care routine. However, when the other 2 categories require more of our attention and energy, more often than not, our own personal time is affected. For example, we get little to no sleep, we skip on that workout, or even cancel that mani-pedi. So that's a little teaser of the article I just wrote and contributed for The Suburban. If you want to read the rest of the article, I'll link it in today's show notes. Now, could you do me a huge favor? Once you're at the blog post, can you please click on the share button? You'll have the option to share the link so you can text it to fellow moms, or share it on social media, because my mission is to help out as many moms out there and make life a little easier through the pieces of content I create. And this one, about work-life balance, I believe is something many women, not just moms, struggle with every single day. So please go ahead and share it with 2 friends or your mom groups. I would so appreciate your help. All right, now to get in a little deeper with this whole work-life balance thing that many of us struggle with, myself included, I'll give you an example. I find it truly hard to fit in the things that are important for my health and well-being. More specifically, having the discipline to actually do the dang work. I don't know, I call it laziness sometimes, or feeling mentally drained, or being overwhelmed with all the ideas I have that it's hard to press pause and just get a workout in. It's funny, I can find every excuse in the book to not work out, but that feeling I get when it's been a long time since the last time I've done anything physical for myself, I feel like crap. And I don't like feeling that way at all, and forget about the way I look. Anyways, without going down that road of potential negative talk, let's take the baby steps together. And what I mean by this is taking the stuff out of our heads and laying it out on the table. All right, Not the literal table, but you know what I mean. And if you know me by now, what I mean is brain dumping. So I'm going to walk you through an exercise that ties into the article I just wrote. So if you've read it and listening to this podcast right now, you're ahead of the game and getting lots of bang for your buck. Or fake money, because what I'm giving you right now is totally free. Okay, let's do this. How do we prioritize our to-do list? So remember the 3 areas that normally take up our wakeful time aside from work? That's stuff relating to the house, the stuff relating to the family, and then there's our own personal stuff. And what I'm about to share is my go-to strategy when there's so much going on with my kids, their activities, home life, and all the tidying we need to catch up on. That's right, you heard me correctly. We need to catch up on the cleaning and tidying because all of us live in this house and everyone contributes to the chaos. So everyone can do their part in cleaning up, even the young ones. Now, back to my strategy for prioritizing my to-do list in order to keep me on the path of work-life balance. This strategy helps me find instant clarity and breathing room for my brain. I grab a pen and a paper and get ready to brain dump. I know, I said it already, but wait, it's not just any type of brain dump. There's more to it. To illustrate, I used to just empty everything out on a sheet of paper, kind of like on point form. Well, that helped to empty my brain instantly, but it didn't reduce the overwhelm completely. Yes, brain dumping and seeing everything laid out on the paper is both relieving and, you can say, anxiety provoking at the same time because you actually get a visual of all the things that need to get done. It's crazy sometimes. No wonder we're always saying there's never enough time in the day. Then at the end of the day, we're mentally and physically drained to do anything, right? So that's why just listing it out on a piece of paper isn't enough to get clarity. In fact, it's only step 1 of my brain dumping process. The next step will not only give you clarity, but direction too, on which item to do next. I use this approach often when time isn't a factor, meaning there's no deadline to consider and nothing is due right away. So I use this approach I'm about to explain every time my mind's filled and I feel like I'm spinning around in circles doing things half-ass. Half-ass. Okay, I said it. And I literally see myself doing everything and not accomplishing anything. Do you ever feel like that sometimes? So step 2 of my brain dumping process is to categorize your to-do list items under 3 headings. And they are heading number 1, stuff for the home. So those are things like chores, the grocery, errands that need to get done, repairs and returns, getting that oil change in your car and your lawnmower. How about mowing the lawn? So basically, it's everything to do with the house and the car. Then under heading number 2 would be stuff for the family. So an example of this would be calling and scheduling doctor appointments, gathering last-minute school supplies, coordinating carpool for each kid's activity and caring for pets, emailing the teachers, filling out the forms, and even making sure the kids' nails are cut short. It's everything to do with the people and pets in the house. Now, at this point, you might think, so heading number 2 also includes me, right, Diane? It doesn't, and I'll explain. Too often parents, moms especially, tend to not make their own wants and needs a priority, or these get shoved to the back burner. But let me ask you this, without you fully present and healthy, then what's the point? What does this mean for the kids, your family, and yourself in the long run? So if you have passions and projects going on, or maybe want to explore them, then how can it all happen if you don't consider yourself in this whole equation? Work-life balance, remember? You're a huge part of that life. So that's why it's ultra important and needs its own heading. Can you guess? That's right. Stuff for me. Now, this can be split in 2 subheadings. 1 for self-care, like reading, exercising, taking classes, having some alone time, wanting quiet time for reflection, or just silence. We all need this from time to time. And the second subheading of stuff for me is working on your own business or your passion projects, or even your hobby. So this category is what keeps us alive, interesting, and interested. I say this because you were someone before you had kids, met your partner, or before you even had this job. And when we keep learning, developing ourselves, and doing things that light us up, people feel that, and it makes an impact on them more than we even realize or expect. So put yourself up there, my friend. You so deserve it. Now that you have your to-do list items out of your head and onto paper, your mind has more space to breathe. Also, what I love about this strategy is that the items are nicely organized and structured so you can clearly see which heading has a lot of items. From there, you can further evaluate and see which one of these can be delegated, shared, or taken on yourself. The beauty here is now you can decide what specific things need your personal attention because not everything has to fall on you. Work-life balance, remember? Another beautiful thing about categorizing our to-do list is you'll see which subheadings have little to no items. Can you guess which subheadings this would be? That's right. It could very well and possibly be stuff for me. So perhaps this is the perfect opportunity for you to do a little self-check. What will bring you joy, more energy, or just peace of mind? Pick something that's just for you. Now, I just want to remind you that when you brain dump and categorize everything and see it on paper, understand that these are thoughts and ideas from your to-do list and potentially your wish list. It's to give you a different perspective and an awareness, if you will, of how much is needed from you. And if you're constantly feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and depleted, you may want to tweak that section of the list just a little bit by either delegating it or maybe sharing the load with your spouse, your partner, or your kid. Another option is to consider deleting it off your list completely because you just don't have the bandwidth for it right now, and that's okay. So in case you wanted, I've created a free PDF worksheet for you to brain dump all your to-do list items and categorize them properly. You can grab it at 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤.com/to-do list. That's all in one word. Or you can click the link in today's show notes. The next step after this brain dump is to plug in your calendar when you'll be completing these to-do list items. Don't forget, if you're delegating, let them know what needs to be done exactly. And if you're sharing the task, don't forget to have the discussion with whoever's helping you out and set a date that's convenient for both of you. So there you have it, a mini training on how to tackle the work-life balance many of us struggle with. I hope you found this episode valuable. And don't forget to download your PDF worksheet. Good luck with tackling the to-do list items inside a schedule that makes sense for you. I'm here and rooting for you always. And if you'd be so willing, I'd love to see your list items all categorized. So snap a picture of it and tag me on Instagram at @OneTidyPlace or on Facebook at 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. I can't wait to see what you've got going on, and cheers to you for doing this. You're one step ahead than you were before on the path to work-life balance. Have yourself a great week, my friend. I can't wait to have you back here again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.